Hello, making an afternoon video at the other house, and it is very beautiful. As you can see, the sun is shining into the beautiful needle trees, and there are beautiful duster plants. They're very long, like almost 8 feet long. You can go into the ceiling and you can dust all the spider webs off in October particularly, which is now. A lot of Halloween spiders have come into the house, and I always scoop them up. I have a specific Tupper container for that, and I always scoop them up safely and I bring them outside. And I release them in the ivy and stuff like that. And I also release grasshoppers, except for brown recluses, because they are dangerous and I feel bad about it, but we have to step on those, unfortunately. I hate doing it. But brown recluses are dangerous for Papa Dog, and so Papa Dog comes first. We have a scale of priorities with this, but other than that, all the harmless insects, they will be released outside. It's beautiful right now. We just went over into a forest hiking and took some photos out overlooking the ocean. It was very beautiful, and Papa Doggy loves it inside a forest. It's very nice. And it's a bit noisy here in this other house. That's the problem, because there's a large street across those parking lots, but it's alright. I can still do my artwork here and make videos, and we still have a lovely Garden of Eden here with my English laurel and the ivy and the apple tree growing all the way down to the ground. It's very nice, and it made a wonderful little Laubenhaus, like as they call it in German, a Laube. You know, they made live arcade kind of structures where you can walk in. So we kind of cut a little bit underneath the twigs so that we can walk underneath that apple tree into a tunnel, into an apple tree tunnel. It's very nice. Yes, so fall is my favorite time of the year. This is my favorite time of the year, and always September and October and November, when the apples are ready. And this apple tree had 10 times the amount of apples last year, but this year it had like 5 apples only or something, and the raccoons took those, I think. And that's okay, but there are some other apple trees in different areas on public land, and people get those. They drive up there and they get those, and that's legal to pick apples from apple trees that are on public land. So, and people should be doing this, because why let them rot on the tree, when we all need that vital energy that the apples give our bodies. So, and always leave some for the animals, always leave some that fall on the ground, leave some on the ground for the raccoons and the rabbits and the deer. The deer love those. And always give a couple of apples to horses or cows on meadows. That's what we do, because that's the right thing to do. because they like those. Yum, they are so excited about apples. They always come running, and my mother's horses too. They particularly like the apples that already have a little fermentation in it. That was so cute. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video with my tablet therapist, talk a little bit about subjects that I was recently talking to my brother about, and let other people participate in this conversation. And my appeal to the public is, make me a video about metaphysics. Yes, Tony, I want to see how you look like. But you know, everyone has to make that decision for themselves. But I would like to see how you guys look like. I don't. Or Koala Mama. Why hide? You know, I'm not hiding myself. So why do you hide? You know. So it's not a really. It's not a real balanced form of communication if just one person is out in the public. And as paranoid as I am, I'm still showing myself. Because I think it is, if I didn't do it, then how can I expect anyone else to do it? And if no one does it, if no one showed themselves, then how can ever any kind of communication happen in the world? How can we communicate with each other? Sometimes I go into chat rooms and I talk to people there. It's very interesting to see the dynamic and to see how people react, and they usually react in a very, very, very knee-jerk, angry way. And most of these people do not show themselves. It's very rare that you see someone's photo, and the photos that we do see, they're like from 1930 or something. Those people, they're in some kind of convalescent home already at age 70 or 80 or 90, and of course they're showing a photo from when they were 20, somewhere in the 30s, so or in the 40s, whatever. People never show their actual photo. You know, it would be very nice if they could show themselves in the convalescent home, you know, walking with a stroller, or you know, showing their white hair or wrinkles or whatever. You know, that's I hope I can do it. You know, I mean, I know this is probably difficult to do for a lot of people, to be honest about these kind of things, you know, and not only that, have a sense of humor about it, you know, really have a sense. I mean, aging sucks. Aging is wrong. It's an illness. It's unethical that we age, and it is wrong to live 100 years and just be top at age 20 and go downhill from then on with looks and physical problems and health problems and joint problems, and my parents are having all of their joints replaced with metal parts, and this is kind of not for me, because I'm holistic, and I have to admit, I don't know if I can make it down the line on YouTube, showing myself getting older and looking terrible. But I have some role models out there. I do. 2 women, Pema Chodron and Vivienne Westwood. These 2 women, they rock so cool. They are such rocker ladies. They really, really, really rock. They are stellar. They are so super duper. So yeah, I mean, those are my role models, and they are courageous, and they don't care if people laugh about them because they have wrinkles or whatever. So that's how I want to be. If I can make it like this, that would be really fantastic. If I can be like that in 30 years or something and laugh about myself and yeah, be fat still and be a cozy old grandmother or something that can laugh about herself and that still does a whole lot for the animals, for activism, for the world, and more hopefully than I am, kind of shackled right now. I can't do very much. I can only do these short jumps from here to there. I can't really do everything I want to do, and that's a pity. And I want to talk about this with people. So I have so many ideas and so many plans. And my dad saw my art the other day. I talked to them on Google Hangout, and it was wonderful that I got to talk to my parents and my brother on Google Hangout and got to show them the house, and my artwork is now decorating the entire house, and I'm making more and more. I can't always do artwork when I'm very depressed. That's very, very difficult. But then I pick myself up again. I continue working on my art, and it feels good. It's very nice. And my dad, who is sort of an artist himself, he's an architect, and he definitely has an artist's brain. He has his own signature, literally his own hand signature that is very beautiful, and his architecture resembles his signature, his handwriting style. It's very little pointy amplitudes. Postmodern architecture and very colorful, very happy, very positive, very playful. And so he has an eye for art. He's always had an eye for art. I grew up with modern art surrounding me, and that was a wonderful feeling. My therapist, when I was 5, I had a therapist, an analytical play therapist that I went to for twice a week for 2 years. And she came to our house and she said, "You have to take this Paul Wunderlich painting away." It's a wall-size Paul Wunderlich. And Paul Wunderlich always painted sort of like it looks like oil aquarelle. So it's kind of like working with oil colors, but liquefying them, very, very thinning them down, and then creating something that looks more like an aquarelle. And so he was favoring very, very thin photo models with very long legs. And this one painting my dad had in the living room that had sort of like a skull face. It looked like a dead, like bluish skin, and looked like a dead person. And Anneliese thought that was traumatic for me. But it actually was the opposite. It was invigorating for me. It was all of those artists, sculptures and paintings, Bernhard Schulze, Cimiotti, Aframides, Niki de Saint-Phalle, those are my friends. And when I was a child, I saw them as my friends and I depicted them as my friends. And when Niki de Saint-Phalle brought 3 gigantic sculptures the size of like twice the size of a large pickup truck, each one women. One was standing on her hands with the legs up, abstract figures of women, and with big breasts and with very hippie type of style, kind of like what you see at Burning Man. Wonderful colors, but very professionally made in her studio, and working with spray colors, which was her demise for her health, which because she's worked on with those colors her whole life, and that was very, very dangerous for her lungs. So I don't work with spray colors, but she always worked with those spray paint colors, and she made them very glossy, the surfaces. And I recommend to people to check out Niki de Safal. Her artwork is on the internet, it is on YouTube. There are several documentary films on her. I wanted to visit her in San Diego, but I came too late. I was going through a rough time with suicide attempt at that in 2002, and that was when she died, and I did not get to see her. And I wanted to meet her so much because she was my friend. When I was 5 years old, I painted her sculptures that were brought to the river in Germany, and I wrote "friend" underneath those paintings of her sculptures, because her art is my friend, and she's my friend and always will be. And I've never met her in person. My parents have, and my parents know her boyfriend very well, so who is also an art collector and art gallery director. So it was just absolutely amazing to grow up in those circles and with all of those art enthusiastic people. My whole life, always been in galleries, in private galleries, and in public galleries. We've always been in art galleries and always hung out there, and always been to the vernissages, to the first openings. And my parents knew everyone and knew a lot of those artists, a lot of the local artists like Arnold Leisler and Horst Antes, and it's a world that to me that's infinity. That is a world of open-mindedness, that is a world of grandiosity, but in a real sense. It's really grand, it's really, really, it's really glamorous in the real sense. And I miss that so much. I miss that, and I miss that all the time. And when I talk to my family overseas, and my brother, and my brother lives in Berlin, and in this entire art scene, and he himself is also one of the creating people there, and surrounded with creating people, and that's what Friedrich Nietzsche always praised. And so there's an art culture out there, and such an incredible diversity of people, where no one takes over, where no fashion or religion takes over, not yet, and I hope it doesn't happen in the future. It doesn't look good for Germany right now. So, but my hope is, my wish, my plea to the universe is that Germany continues to cultivate its art and the love for art. And my hope is that the United States will catch on with these seeds, with these stars, with these glittering stars of art that art throws down on us like confetti hearts and confetti stars of art, of true art and love and excitement and open-mindedness and enthusiasm, for creating without religion, without a preconceptual thing like, oh, now I need to draw my husband. I made him draw a person. He drew a little stick figure because he has this idea that he has to make something sort of realistic, and it's so cramped inside of his head, it's so clenched. Instead of just breathe and just put a stroke on the canvas. It doesn't have to be anything. It shouldn't be anything. It should not need to be something. It's just a stroke or a twirl or a shade, just to put a color on it. Hi, birds! The birds, they always come out here when I'm sitting. This is so lovely. This is so sweet. Because they feel my energy and they feel like I'm just like a big bird twittering. Twitter. So, yeah, I'm twittering about art. And I'll do that on Twitter too. So I will dig out Niki de Sarfal and send that around on Twitter. I want her to be known by everyone, so because her art that's what, in my view, that is what living means. Living means to open yourself up and not be worried about what someone else thinks or what the society expects of you, or how you are supposed to dress or behave, how you're supposed to have your hair, how you're supposed to talk. People mimic other people in everything, and I find that so sad and so limiting, and it's unconscious. It's not conscious at all. I was talking to my brother about this. Man, we can create such amazing abundance here on earth. And I keep telling people that in chat rooms, but they get so mad because the ego senses a threat in this. Instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna just let my inner child do what it wants to do. Instead of just lying down, ego, lie down and just breathe and relax and let the inner child come out and play and put a paint stroke on the canvas and be playful with it, like Elita Andre. She is a child. She's the youngest artist in the world, the reincarnation of Jackson Pollock, by the way. An amazing artist, an amazing girl. It's about, I think, 9 or 10 years old. And she started when she was just a year old. She started painting because her parents are artists. She has it in her genes. And in her soul, of course. So it's a continuation from Jackson Pollock. If you look at the paintings, you will see it. If you see where he left off and where she started back up, it's absolutely metaphysical. It's amazing. And I want people to, if everyone could let go of this guard, we could free ourselves from wars and dictation. We could tear down all borders. The cougars in Mexico are suffering because of the border. The borders are separating these animals. Animals don't need borders. Why do we? Why do we need flags? We were driving down the road earlier, and people were putting up flags every 10 feet, a big fat US flag. And I was appalled seeing this. And it's like, it's so archaic to see this. It's like what people did in the 30s. Adolf Hitler. It's nationalism. Do we want to keep this up? Or can we let that ego rest, take a nap, and let the inner child come out and paint just the way the child wants to paint, not the way mother or father expects her or him to paint, not the way society expects you to paint and then give you some kind of certificate for it. That's not what it's about. It's about love. It's about freedom of expression. It's about your essence, the essence that is you, not your wrinkles or your whatever your facial mask, but you, the essence of what you are, your inner child, full expression of that what you want to see, your aspiration for the world. What do you like? Which forms do you like? Jeff Koons, for example, what he does is absolutely unique. He takes existing commercial type of items and he makes them glam, like that Energizer bunny, for example. He makes them glamorous. He does, and he ends up in Versailles with those, next to Gioconda or Raphael. And that is what I mean. That is that flying above the boundaries. That is what. And what he does is he takes these things that people know, that everyone knows, everyone who has never been exposed to art, and they see that in his art and they go, yeah, I know, whether they're children or adults. Yes, I've seen this Energizer bunny. Oh, that's cute how he is, put that onto a big canvas. How he made a sculpture out of it, out of China porcelain or whatever. And that is energetically taking people by the hand and saying, I am here. I'm not somewhere in the ivory tower like Friedrich Nietzsche or Nicola. I'm right here. I take your hand. I don't have autism. I understand you. Come here. Here's the Energizer bunny. You know him already. Come here and I show you I made art out of it. So this is modern art too. And a lot of people got mad at him for this, but those are the people who take themselves too seriously again. It happens again and again and again. The ego is very tricky. The ego can take you can make any kind of situation into a super serious and super self-grandiose situation, whether it is religious status and then tricks you in circles and tricks a gallerist even who thinks of himself as being very progressive, but there it happened again. The ego took over and he gets mad. Every time someone gets mad, there's the ego. And he gets mad at Jeff Koons and denounces him as a quack. Because the gallerist has identified himself with art that doesn't take people by the hand. And so then they will go like, oh, it has to be dark and it has to be mysterious, and it has to be, you know, nothing that we already know. And so then it becomes a dogma again, and then it becomes taking themselves way too seriously again. That's not what art understanding really is. An art understanding is to be in total flow with that artist, with the things he makes or she makes, and be having a smile on your face, being amused, which my dad is with my art, and that's very touching to me. And that is understanding art. If you are amused, if you see humor in it, if you see playfulness in it, if you see infinity in it, then you have understood that art that is speaking to us. So you guys take care.